Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nur Haslina binti Muhammad Sultan. In this video, I will be discussing about an article from the fish site. The title of the article is The Seafood and the Pandemic Moving from Shock to Stability, which focusing on how aquaculture industries cope with the pandemic. This discussion is further divided into 4 criteria, which is the issue, factors, effects, and methods. The issues. First issue is the distribution. The lockdown order causes mass disruption to the seafood trade. Seafood shipments were completely halted due to the shift in demand, supply, and also port closing. Producers and distributors left without a market for their goods because of the cancelled seafood shipments. In fact, the cold storage facilities were also running out of space. For high-income countries, they managed to shift the goods to other markets. For instance, Ecuador redirected their shrimp exports from China to US and Europe. Unfortunately, for the low-income countries, they suffered from 50% of drop in exports and faced with seafood deficit issue. Second issue, production. Through the pandemic, data from the economic stated that the production of seafood decreased drastically. The lockdown order decreases the aquaculture output since the producers have been facing with the demand problems. The restriction toward the import causing fish farmers not having access to broodstock distribution and demand, which directly impacting sales on profit margin. Third issue, labor. The employment are also affected throughout the seafood supply chain. High number of unemployment have been reported due to the movement restriction. Labor shortages have been reported as well, hindering the operation of hatcheries. For developing countries, this pandemic causes huge loss towards the laborers because they are mostly self-employed. This increases the unemployment statistics to drop, causing drop in household incomes, also restricting the purchasing power. The factors. First factors, trade restriction. COVID-19 has shown the power imbalances in the food system globally. For many years, the industries concentrate the production of the seafood in a small scale of exporters, causes the systems to face shocks and disruption, thus affecting the food security and stability, especially in low-income countries. Second factor, government. The pandemic crisis changed how government operate to ensure food security for the people. Price fluctuation and also product shortages with the overall of economic fallout occurs. Even though high-income countries may survive due to the government's aid, however, for low-income countries will be ignored and may face nutrition crisis if the second waves hit. The effects. First effects, capture fisheries production. The drop in demand from the reduced price effect have stopped the fishing activity. There is also limitation of input supplies because they are unable to provide it during the movement restriction. Globally, sharp drops in the production of seafood during the pandemic clearly proven how hard aquaculture industry suffered. Second effects, aquaculture production. In the production sector, both marine and freshwater that depends on labor, inputs, financing and market, which heavily impacted during the crisis, the market remains uncertain and highly volatile. The production of seafood would also be slow due to the lower demand and low input as well. Food security and nutrition. Fish serves as backbone to healthy diets and supplies vitamins and minerals needed for the human body. Many transporting businesses shutting down contributing to food insecurity and malnutrition increases. Therefore, it is important for the government whom its countries depends on fish for their food security to not run short of fish supply. Methods in solving these issues. There will always be a solution to a particular problem. It applies on this situation as well. First, data sharing platforms should be widened to cope with the exchange of information regarding the impacts of the pandemic to enable coordinated responses to future shocks. Next, information system that tracks fish prices and trades volumes must be improved in order to reduce wasted fish and enabling value change to respond to the consumer's needs and demand. Lastly, it is important to understand how the whole aquaculture industry is different from other food sectors from a resilience perspective of COVID-19 hit. From this article, it can be concluded that the COVID-19 crisis has caused massive turnover in the aquaculture industries. This clearly shows how seafood is important for human consumption. Right from the production decreases to fluctuating price and demand reduce. All of these are tiring to watch because it affects the people who work in these industries and betting their lives on it. However, with the correct government movement and support, surely it will work right way.